Hey everyone, I know it's been forever, it's Casey. So if I'm looking over here, it's because I have a little kitty next to me. So I just thought I'd give a quick update regarding where I've been for this past year. I don't know if I'm going to post my ramen video first or this video first, but if my lips look crazy, it's because I just filmed a really spicy instant ramen food review, so see that soon, or perhaps you've already seen it. I don't know which one yet, but I'm literally still sweating from the hot noodles, instant ramen that I just tried, and my stomach is not sitting well, so I hope I don't burp all the time. But anyways, I would just want to cover over some things that happened. I'm recording first of all on my iPhone, so let me know what you guys think about the quality, the sound, things like that. The reason why I'm not using my previous camera is because it actually runs on batteries. And the problem with that is, I don't know what the issue is, but it drains batteries like nobody's business. And I would literally put in 4 new batteries, and within recording maybe 10 minutes, it would say batteries are drained or insufficient amount of battery, etc. So I'm trying my iPhone out. I have an iPhone 6, so hopefully it works out okay. So let me know what you guys think. But secondly, so this past year has been rather crazy. First of all, as you can tell, I am in a new apartment, so if I have time in a second, I will record regarding my apartment, my experiences with this apartment. So this will kind of tie into what happened to me this past summer. So basically, around April or May, I can no longer remember. I believe it started around mid to late April of this year, 2016. I got incredibly sick. And I think it was an accumulation of so many things. Basically, as you guys know, I was living in a studio apartment by myself. I loved it there. I was living in downtown Shinju. Now that I no longer live there, I could tell you guys where I did live at that time, but I was living in downtown Shinju. Nice place, I would say overall. Like you guys could see in my apartment review, or tour rather, which I'll link down below. In my apartment tour, I lived in a little studio, and it was a very nice place. I would say didn't enjoy the noise and traffic there because it was a morning market, and I couldn't cook, so the advantages of having a morning market didn't really apply to me. So regardless, it was a very, very nice place. I loved my landlord and the people who worked there. They were super friendly. And regardless, I was living by myself, and I was working very hard at the time, too hard, and to the point where I was sleeping at essentially 4 or 5 in the morning, which is very unhealthy. I would be getting up around 10 and mostly 10 a.m. So I was getting about roughly 5 hours of sleep if I fell asleep immediately, and oftentimes I don't. So maybe I was getting on average 4 to 5 hours of sleep. And on top of that, I had a lot of assignments and projects, which I did enjoy. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy them, but it was just that it was taking a toll on my body, and my body finally just decided it wanted to crash. And it so happened that the weather was somewhat changing. You know, it was so hot in summer, but once you go inside, it's super cold, and just the constant temperature change, and my immune system being so weak because I was abusing my body. I was not eating healthy at all. I was, like I said, I could cook technically if I buy like those little mini pots that a lot of Taiwanese people here have, like those little mini cookers, but it was very inconvenient. You saw how small my studio apartment was, and I would just, sometimes I would go to Costco and buy frozen vegetables and heat that up, but let's be honest, I honestly don't love eating healthy as most people do. I was just constantly eating bread, because there are tons of bakeries in Taiwan, obviously. And so I had a lot of bread, my diet was off, my sleep was off, and my body just told me it was giving up on me. And so I got sick, and I do honestly believe it started off as a very normal cold. And I went to a few hospitals, some very famous ones, some very big ones, and some very small clinics. And I've tried literally everything. And it started to get really out of hand. You know, what started as a simple cold started to really get so serious that I was sweating just cold sweats at night, that my whole bed was basically wet from my body, from my sweat once I woke up, if I did wake up. And I was just constantly in this drowsy state where I was dizzy and so fatigued. And at the time, I don't think I was in the best state of mind, simply because I don't know, you know, when you're young, you think you're invincible and things like that. And I didn't want to worry my family. So I just told them, oh, you know, it's probably just the medications making me drowsy and dizzy. It's no big deal. And my cough got it exceedingly worse. And I started to feel like my lungs were flooding. And I've had experiences with pneumonia. I've had pneumonia many times in my childhood. I'm very asthmatic. I have asthma. I have bronchitis as well, or bronchiectasis, is that what it's called? Basically, I don't know if that's the right term. Correct me if I'm wrong. But it's where the right tube under your lung, for me, is completely collapsed and closed permanently. Nothing I can do, so that just means the function of my lungs are weaker than others. And I went to Maje, okay, or Mackay hospital, and one of the worst experiences, I've had really great experiences, and that was only one instance where it was really terrible. But regardless, basically told them what happened. I said, I literally feel like I have pneumonia. I feel like my lungs are flooding. I cannot breathe. When I cough, it feels like there's phlegm up to my throat and I can't get it out. And I said, please, can you give me an x-ray? And I was coughing to the point where I couldn't talk. Literally, I had no voice. So I had to cancel all of my work. And I felt really bad for my bosses, you know, and my students, of course, but I literally had no voice. And I've never had that happen to me. I was coughing to the point where I felt like I broke a rib because it was such a sharp, intense pain. And I have a really high pain tolerance, and it was so bad that I was coughing to the point where I was hunched over and just clinging to my sides, thinking it broke a rib. Well, long story short, I was blessed that one of my coworkers, who's very, very sweet man, and he messaged me or emailed me and asked me why he didn't see me. And at that point, it was about three and a half weeks of being gone from work. And he said, you know, I don't see your face anymore. What's going on? And I told him, and he said, well, he knew about his mom who had pneumonia, so he had an idea when he heard me speaking with such a raspy voice when he last saw me about 3 weeks ago. So he sent me to this doctor who was one of his prior students. Really fantastic doctor. His name is Dr. Wong, down in Jubei, and great English. Phenomenal doctor. I told him what happened. I basically wrote it down because I could hardly talk. I was talking barely at a whisper. And luckily his English is very well. Long story short, he gives me an x-ray and says, yeah, you have pneumonia. And I said, I know, because no one would give me an x-ray. I don't know why. I love the health insurance here, but doctors here won't give me an x-ray until I finally spoke to him and I said, you know, please save me. And I literally believe if Dr. Wong didn't give me an x-ray, I would be gone. I would just immediately be gone because I felt like I was drowning in my own lungs. So he said, well, you could cure it at home, and I was planning to, but I thought I can't go on. I felt feverish. I didn't feel human anymore. I was in this drowsy, almost comatose state sometimes. And I went all the way to Taiwan to be hospitalized for a whole week. Nurses were great and everything. My mom was super awesome. She stayed with me the whole week. She had to sleep on that awful bed. And long story short, I was gone for over a month, maybe a month and a half, I forget. So that was a crazy part of 2016. And then afterwards, I literally covered for maybe 2 or 3 weeks. And then I was off to America, where I went back to California to visit friends. People were so awesome for hanging out with me. And then I went to Austin, Texas for the first time. And I went to RTX 2016. And oh my God, if you are a Rooster Teeth fan, RTX was so phenomenal. It is the best decision in my life. That was my first convention ever. I got to meet a few people I knew via the internet online, Jeremy and Marcus, and I met some other awesome people from RTX, like Hannah, who is in Scotland, and she was so awesome because we were just talking online to get our thing signed, and we happened to get Chris Damaris and Aaron, and yeah, it was just super awesome that we got to meet so many people. And I love Austin, Texas. It was such a fun place to go to. I went to a lot of the places that often Achievement Hunter or Rooster Teeth mentions on their podcast, things like that. I went to Home Slice. I went there every day, Home Slice, and I didn't care how long the wait was. Best pizza of my life. I could go on and on about Austin, Texas. People there are so sweet, so awesome. And you know, I also went to LA, where I got to see one of my most precious best friends named Compiette, and she took me around LA, showing me Huntington Beach. We got to talk for so long, kind of got down to earth and talked about our lives and where we're gonna go. I met her awesome sister Chanrith, and then their cute little doggie Charlotte, and they let me stay in their home, which was so amazing. And I went to Disneyland, Universal Studios, where I finally got to see Harry Potter World. I'm so sad when I went to Disneyland I did not go on Star Wars. That's my only regret from my whole trip. Did a lot of shopping, felt kind of ashamed afterwards, but who cares? It's already happened. YOLO, right? So yeah, I had a fantastic summer. It was a great way to recover. I was super homesick. Even though my family is now in Taiwan, you know, it's just not, it's still very different when it's where you grew up. So it was a huge relief to go back to California and then see Austin, Texas. I can't believe I'm saying this as a Californian. I would really want to live in Austin, Texas. I'm surprised I didn't want to go back to California, but if I do go back, maybe I will prefer Austin, Texas. Who knows? So Austin, Texas, if you're hiring for someone, hopefully you can hire me. And yeah, and then I also went to Hong Kong with a pretty girl who I'll leave anonymous here. If you watch my last video, you'll know I referred to one of my friends here in Taiwan as Pretty Girl. But Pretty Girl and I went to Hong Kong, and that was amazing. That was my first time really traveling. I've only been to the US and Taiwan, so that was my first time going to a different country. So going to Hong Kong was pretty exciting. Culture shock for sure, but amazing dim sum and food as expected. Great hikes. So yeah, that was my whole year. And then right before, literally I think a week before I went to California in June, I moved to a different apartment because my mom was so terrified. My whole family was terrified for me that by me living alone, I was so unhealthy, which is true. And so she moved in with me, and we found a 2-bedroom apartment, really rushed. I will have to say my experiences with this apartment, I'm not gonna say too much. My landlord is not the best, I will say. I feel so amazingly blessed that my first landlord in Taiwan was phenomenal. Just best people on the planet. But here, I've never met such people. So maybe in my apartment tour, I will mention that. I'm just gonna film this right after, since I have pretty much a free day for once in my life. So I'm gonna film the apartment tour and explain more there. But so that's what went on with me in 2016. If you have any requests or video ideas, please let me know, and I will try my best to film them. But yeah, currently I'm still living in Hsinchu, and I do really enjoy it here. But in terms of food reviews, or if you want questions regarding living here, lifestyle here, things like that, let me know. It could be about any single thing here. So I think that's it. I've rambled enough in this little very unorganized story time. Okay, this is pretty much going to be a one take. But again, thanks for watching and for your time, and I hope you have a good day. Bye.